But I wanted to encourage a lot of you about this subject, about how it feels when we go through the different things that happen to us every day. Sometimes we feel so elated and so excited, and then sometimes we feel like down, depressed, and so on. And how can we deal with it in today's world? And I was talking to a brand new Muslim today, just accepting Islam, by the way, and we were talking about this subject. And he said, well, how about my free will? If I come into Islam and I just turn everything over to God, I have to submit to Him and surrender everything to Him, then I'm not in control anymore. Well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but you never were in control to start with. Why? Well, because actually Allah is in control of everything He created. He said in the Quran, what means in English, I created you and what you do. So whatever is going on in the universe is all part of His plan. Yeah, so whatever happens and what doesn't happen is all part of His plan. And it's going to happen anyway. Understand that. It is going to happen anyway. Or it's not going to happen according to His plan. So whether you choose to surrender to Him or not, it won't matter to Him. It doesn't matter to Him. If you want to make the wrong choices, that's the word. We do have free choice. We don't have free will. Free will would imply that we have power. I'm going to use my free will and I'm going to mandate that all of a sudden a brand new car has to be in the parking lot and the gas tank will never go empty. That's not going to work. So you don't have free will. But you could choose to drive the car you came in or walk home or steal somebody else's car. No, you wouldn't do that. I hope you wouldn't do that. So this is what we're talking about. And I wanted to just be perfectly clear about this. This is our subject today, body and soul. And by the way, while I'm waiting for a phone call right now. But while we do that, I want to tell you about this. Okay? The Halal TV box. We've got the Halal TV box. You can see it right here. See that? That's the box. Put it up close to you. Okay. There you go. There is the box right there. It's small, isn't it? Yeah. But that will get you 50 different channels. Take a look right here. See these channels? You will be able to get a lot of, I want to call them halal channels, because these channels can help your family stay in Islam. Peace TV in English, Peace TV in Urdu, Peace TV in Chinese. Yeah. And Peace TV in Bangala. Guide Us TV in English, and all the Arabic that we have, we translate it so you'll know what it's about. The Quran channel, that's the number one Quran channel, so you can hear the Quran 24 hours a day. The Hadith channel in Arabic, you'll be able to hear the actual Hadiths in Arabic. And then many of the channels in different languages with translations. We have French channels, yeah, even some Somali channels in the Somali language, Hausa, and even some of the channels that we have in, I think we have Spanish, German, and many languages. But also we have a lot of sports too. So if you wanted that, we'll tell you about it, how you can get it for free in a little bit. Let's answer the phone. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
How are you, Waleed?
Wallahi, alhamdulillah, Ameen. How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah. I want to bring you up a little bit closer to my microphone here, if I can. All right. Now this is Waleed, everybody. I'm going to show you. That's who I'm talking to right now. His last name is not Milk. He's in the milk business. I call him Waleed Milk on my phone so I can get it easy. Anyway, so Waleed, you're on the air with me right now.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
And I hope everybody can hear us talking. You and I were having a beautiful conversation over a cup of really great coffee, and then you had to go home, and I told you to call me on the way home so we could talk, okay?
Yes, sir.
And we labeled this Body and Soul, and I want to talk about some stuff, but I know you got some stuff too. And before we get off of the air, I want to talk about what you told me about the 3 questions in the grave when somebody dies. But right now, let's talk about the subject you were telling me about the Majmu'ah, right?
Right, Sheikh.
Talk to me. Tell us about it.
There is a Bahar rivers that he built 3 majma in the Middle East, and one of them in Egypt, one of them in Syria, and one of them in Iraq.
Okay, wait a minute. Syria, Iraq, and Egypt. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and these are gathering places for, or a place to store up volumes of information. Is that right?
Right, and it has all the old books, everything that and the Muslim Ummah that has in the past, and you find it on these places.
Okay. Tell us more.
Also, these places' job is to make sure to protect the language and to invent the new words or any new Arabic, any word that comes up in a word. These you will take it and convert it to the Arabic based on a root of the Arabic language.
Okay,
so
let's.
Just to get any other word from their mind.
Okay, let me take so my audience can catch up with what you're saying. For those of you who are not familiar with the Lagut Arabiya, the Arabic language, the Arabic language is one of the Semitic languages that traces its roots all the way back to Adam. So this is an ancient language, along with Eber, which today they call it Hebrew, and there's the Phoenician language, I think, was one of them, and Aramic? Yeah, Aramic. Aramic, yeah. So these languages are related to these. You're going to have to do your music some other time, right? I think your phone is having a party over there. Anyway.
It text messages.
Yeah, well, these phones today have got their own mind. They play whatever they want. Anyhow, so I want to go back to what we're talking about. The languages have roots, and these languages all have similar roots. For instance, I was just reading in one of the National Geographics about the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel is a famous story in Genesis. If you remember the story that the king was trying to build the tower all the way up so he could get up at the top, and he was going to shout at God or something like that. Anyway, Babel, and if it takes its word from one of the Akkadian language, which Bab means gate, and El means the. So in Arabic, you'd say El-Bab, which means the gate or the door. And in their language, they would Bab-El. And also Beth-El and El-Beth. Now, Beth-El, like Bethlehem, Bethlehem, that is actually Bethlehem, and that means the place that the house of slaughter, actually. Anyway, so these languages are root-driven. There are thousands of roots, and you can build thousands of words off of each root. So this is why a lot of the Europeans, as Sheikh was just saying to us, that a lot of the Europeans today are putting the languages that they have, whether it's German or French or whatever, into the Arabic language because they can find roots to bring everything out of. Is that what you're saying, Sheikh?
Yes, Sheikh Yusuf. As far as Sheikh Bassam Jawar, who is part of Majma An-Noon in Palestine.
Majma An-Noon is meaning the Noon is. Did you say Nur or Noon?
Noon.
Okay.
Majma An-Noon.
Okay.
In Palestine.
In Palestine. Yeah, Philistine is
right.
Palestine. Yeah, go ahead.
Right, and he's saying that right now is the European is trying to convert their history or to translate their history for the newer generation and put it in the Arabic language. So because they believe the Arabic language is the survivor among all these languages what we have right now. So for their generation to keep their history and to keep their tradition, to keep their technology, they're putting it in Arabic language and saving it in Arabic language.
Exactly. Okay, now I want you to tell us a little bit about what the Sheikh was telling you, and let's as far as the story about the soul and the body.
The Sheikh was mentioned something important about that was not Sheikh Bassam, that's another person that who I met from Syria. He was talking about Allah that created us from mud and soul. And
okay, let me repeat what you just said, because there is some breakup in your phone. So he's saying that Allah created the human beings from basic, sounding clay or the mud of the earth, and we have a soul. So our bodies are made out of the mud, and then the spirit or soul inside of us, and this is our spirit. Go ahead.
And the thing is, in order to keep the body going, you have to connect with the mud, with the right mud. Otherwise, if you connect with the wrong mud, unfortunately, you get sick.
Okay, the right mud would be what?
Like you're eating from you connect with the fruit, vegetable, meat, chicken, all that created from the mud.
Okay. And I guess mud, you're saying the earth and the water, because the two of them is what makes the mud. So we have to drink liquid, and we have to eat from the things that come out of the ground. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so we got that. Go ahead.
And then you said, in order to make the connection with your soul, you have to do to connect with the source of the soul, which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us as ibadat, which is salat, siyam, the different things, just like what we allow us to have a different connection with the earth, with the mud. You have the fruit, you have the vegetable, you have the meat. So it's different things. The same thing to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to get your soul going properly and not get the soul sick. It's to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by these ibadat.
Yes. All right, go ahead.
So that is, I really find it really interesting how to connect with the earth, and how to connect your soul, the body with the earth, and how to connect the soul with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Interesting subject that you really attract me, and really I like the subject itself, and I find it really important that when what he said if you do not connect with the right ibadat, unfortunately, people get their soul sick, and a lot of people get under depression or their mental things because they're not really happy. They're feeling sad because the way they're kept their body, their soul away from the right ibadat or right soul.
All right, so now we can sum it up maybe like this, that how you eat will determine how your body is going to feel and how it's going to do good or do bad, right?
Correct.
So also, we would say that so that's what you're pulling from the earth that you came from. And the spirit is coming from God, so your connection with God will determine how your spirit and your soul and your mind and your feelings and everything inside are going to be. Is that right?
Yes, that's it.
So if I find myself in depression, just like if I find myself, I'm feeling sick, I don't feel good, then I need to look at what have I been putting in my body. Is that right?
That's true.
All right.
That's absolutely true.
Okay. So, and we can agree that abstaining from food altogether, that would, obviously you would get real skinny and you would die if you don't ever eat, right?
Yes, yes.
Or you'll be so emanciated, I said the wrong word, emaciated, that to the point that you would be, not productive at all, because you'd just be like a person almost dying, right?
Absolutely right.
All right. So then I want to contrast that with the one who is taking the spirit, which comes from God. If I want to have a good, strong spirit, then I need a good connection with God. Is that right?
I like the way you explain it. Yes,
Now, people recommend that we eat 3 times a day. But some people are telling us today that we should have a little snack in the morning and then our breakfast, maybe a little break in the afternoon and have another little something, then our evening meal. And they are coming up with 5 times a day and some even 6. But the 5 times a day to ingest food and drink, at least we would have a break in the daytime to maybe have coffee or milk or water or something, and that would be in the morning, and then in the afternoon another break, a coffee break, a milk break, or water break. Is that right? That's normal for anybody that's in business to have a time to let their employees have a coffee break, right?
Yes.
You're in business and you have employees. Do you let them drink coffee?
Should I do? No problem. That's important.
Yeah, well, being you're in the milk business, you don't mind if they're drinking milk either. Okay, but what I'm saying is that so we find that the body does real well if it gets this replenishment 5 times a day. Is that right?
That is that's what they're saying on the medical article. Yes.
So, if that's the case for the body, it makes sense what the Sheikh is saying about the spirit. So, if I want to make a connection on a regular basis, on a daily, regular basis, not just once a month or once a week or once a day, but throughout the day, take a break and hook up. Now, what's really something is, I'm making a comparison, those who are, of our viewers who are already Muslim, they probably know where I'm going with this. But those of you who are not Muslim and you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see in a minute what we're talking about: the spirit, about the feelings, about the emotions, about how to overcome depression and how to get away from these horrible things that are happening in your life. It's not as complicated as you might think, because think about the body. Let's just focus on the body because we know what that is. The body come from the earth. All right, we got that. And it's made out of water. They say the body is made over 90% of water. Did you know that? That's what I've heard.
Yes.
Okay, saying that, now I want to move forward. I just realized I'm drinking out of a Starbucks cup, and I can't do that. I got to drink out of a Guidus TV cup. Hold on a second. Hold on. This doesn't work for me. I'm all into branding, right? I got to have our brand on everything that we do. If I don't see our brand on it, I don't want it. No, I did not make my wife get a tattoo. She does not have a Goddess TV tattoo yet. Anyway, this is... Okay, I know, that's crazy. All right, but I'm making a comparison. I'm making the comparison between taking care of our body, and we're just talking about some logical things. We need to exercise during the day. You got to move around a little bit, okay? At regular times of the day, just stretch them out, move them up. Yes. We all have to get some exercise. Move the legs around, move the arms around, turn the body back and forth. We do that. This is what we do. Okay. And the other thing we do, we have to drink and eat every day. Now, sometimes we fast, but we make up for it when we break the fast. Is that right? And that's true. We do that. Okay, so here's the comparison. I want you to think about this. The comparison is that we are connecting with where we came from to make it right with our body. Now, what about the soul? The soul came from God. God Almighty put the soul into Adam. He put the soul into Eve after he created her from a bone of Adam. He put the soul into their children. And then he put the soul into their children, into their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and to all of the children and children and children of Adam until today. Each and every one of us has a soul. Something that is not just the body. And that soul or spirit or whatever you want to call it, emotional makeup, I don't care what you call it, you know it's not the same as the body. The body and the soul, the ruh, work together. They should be working together, but still they're not the same thing. Just like the driver of a car is not the car and the car is not the driver. Is that right? Okay, so let's think about this. We're making a connection with where we came from for the body, and we're doing it on a regular basis. A little in the morning, a little break in the mid-morning, then for the lunchtime, and then in the afternoon, and then the sun is going down, and that's time for dinner or lunch or something, and then maybe a snack before we go to bed. Something like that, right? And we're talking about 5 times a day. 5. I put up 2 hands. It looked like I said 10, but 5, okay? So now let's talk about connection with Almighty God. Can we talk about that? A connection with Almighty God. Now, before the sun comes up, to make a connection with Him. Then about noontime, make another connection with Him. Then mid-afternoon, make another connection with Him. Sun goes down, make another connection. Before you go to bed, make another connection. That's 5. Khams. In Arabic language, it's 5. Khams. Khams. Morning, Fajr. Noon, Dhuhr. Mid-afternoon, Asr. Sun goes down, Maghrib. Nighttime, Isha. Those are the 5 times of the day that Allah has prescribed for us to make a connection with Him, to revive the spirit, to bring out what we have inside of us in a positive manner, to let us get settled down. Yeah, you know how long it is, how you feel when you go a long time without water. Then you finally get that little drink of water and you go, feels good. Or you put that food in your mouth after you've been fasting all day and you say, wow, that's the best food I ever had. And maybe it's just a piece of bread, but it tastes so good because I haven't had anything all day. And that's the connection we're talking about. Because when the soul, when you do this, Allahu Akbar, and you humble yourself before your Lord, and you are standing there in front of Him, facing the direction of Qibla, the first house of God built by Abraham, and you are making your connection with Him, a lot of those problems that were bringing you down are gone. A lot of those worries that were making you depressed are alleviated. And a lot of those concerns and worries that you had are suddenly not so big a deal anymore. Why? Because your soul needs this connection to keep you on track, to keep you on the straight path. It's called Sirat. Siratul Mustaqim. The Siratul Mustaqim, the path of who? The people who are the righteous people. And we say, Siratul Ladina An'amta Alayhim. They're the ones that have the favor of their Lord. What is the favor of your Lord? Is this connection. By the way, do you know how to say connection in the Arabic language? Sila. Sila. What is sila? Connection. And what is salah? That is your connection with your Lord. Salawatul Khams. The plural, salawat. Salawatul Khams, 5 times a day. Just as your body needs refreshing, just as you need exercise, just as you need water, just as you need food to live, to exist on this planet, you need your connection with your Maker. You need this connection. I need this connection. We all need this connection, body and soul together. Don't abandon the things that we need for this world. Don't totally abandon that. I mean, you got to eat, you got to drink, otherwise you're going to die. And don't eat the wrong things, and don't drink the wrong things. And you know what I'm talking about. In the same way, our worship, our connection with Allah has to be correct as well, doesn't it? Don't you look at the ingredients? I'm asking you, don't you look at the ingredients on what you buy at the store? What is this got in? What is tamarack? And what is monodiglycerides? What is that? What are these things that are in my food here? I want to know. All right. Has it got animal parts in there? Whoa. Wait a minute. This looks like some mono and diglycerides. What is that? What's MGS? I don't know. All right. So just like we're looking at those contents, shouldn't we be considering the contents that we put in our spirit and our soul? So why not? Hold on. What are you reading about the contents of what you believe? You should put at least as much attention into your brain and your heart as you do into the body that you're driving around. So what are you reading? Well, let's see. I've got some books around here. Let's take a look. Here's a book. That's a nice big book, too. Look at this. The Universe in Focus. Let's read all about the universe. Well, it's not wrong. It's not bad. Got a lot of stuff in there. But is that really going to help me with my spiritual side? Somebody's calling us. Let's find out who it is. Salam alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Habib. Wait a minute. Let me put the speaker on. You're on the air with us. We're on the air right now. Salam alaikum.
MashaAllah. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm starting now.
Now you're famous. You're on the air.
How are you doing, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Hu alladhi jalna Muslimin.
Alhamdulillah.
So let me ask you a question. What?
Sure.
Yeah. What's going on in your neck of the woods? You're in New Jersey. We're out in California. So what's going on over there?
Alhamdulillah, everything is good. Everything is good, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
All right. I like that. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes. Not too hot. Weather has been okay. Been dry mostly. So alhamdulillah, that's good.
All right.
Can't complain.
All right. Well, I guess you know that we got the word that they going to Hajj.
Inshallah ta'ala.
They told it. Yeah, I saw the tickets. Looks like we're going to leave on Friday.
Yeah. The only thing you need is a visa.
Well, he told me the visa is electronic these days.
Yeah?
Yes, he said you don't need to put it in your passport. I said, what?
Oh, okay. That's good.
He said it's an electronic visa. And I said,
MashaAllah.
what is that?
Right.
All right, I like it. Sounds good to me.
Alhamdulillah. So you're ready to go, mashallah.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready to go, but my wife is ready to go.
All right, good.
You know, I don't think I ever really get ready to do whatever I do. I just do it.
Yeah, as long as there's tawakkul in there, I think you got it all. That's all.
Tawakkaltullah. Are you watching the show right now?
No, I'm driving.
Oh, you didn't know we were on the air?
I did not know.
Okay. Well, what we've been talking about the food that we eat and the water we drink, the liquids we eat and drink, and the food that we eat. Mm-hmm. It's necessary for us to survive, otherwise we die. A baby has to start drinking milk right after it's born. Is that right?
That's right.
And we keep on eating and drinking until the day we go into the grave. Is that right?
That's correct.
And why do we do that? Because we were made from the earth, and we need that earth to keep the body going.
Yep.
And so we're going back to that earth constantly throughout the day and throughout the night even, and eating and drinking. And then we do some exercise along with that, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we have a body, but unlike animals, we have a spirit, we have a ruh. And that ruh, that is to say that it has the ability to choose. We have the right of choice. Now, I posted something today on the Facebook. I don't know if any of you guys watch the Facebook, but I posted something today that was saying that God created the son of Adam, the children of Adam, from the earth. And then and they're from the earth, okay? And we established that we go back to that earth all the time, every day, to get the food and the drink that we need. But then, but also Allah, He created angels. Now those angels, they have reasoning power. They are or choices. They have reasoning. But they don't have desires. Angels have no desires, but they do have reasoning. And you can find that in the beginning of Baqarah when the angels asked Allah, will you create someone who will do mischief and shed blood? And of course the answer is that I know what you don't know. But the point is that the angels have reasoning.
Right.
Now Allah created animals, the beasts of the field, and Him the animals, Allah gave them the desires. They have desires, but they have no reasoning. They don't have the power to reason.
Right.
So if a human being, the sons of Adam, if we use our reasoning to overpower our desires, then we become more like angels. But if we allow our desires to overcome our reasoning, we become more like animals.
Right. Become closer to animals than angels.
Yes. And we had Waleed on the air with us a few minutes ago. I guess we got cut off because I know he's driving in some areas that don't have good connection. Anyway, we were talking about, with Waleed, we were talking about the sheikh who was telling us about the human being who is coming from the earth, and he gets his sustenance from the earth. But what about the soul? The soul comes from Allah, yes?
Yeah.
So when the soul is coming from Almighty God, don't we need a connection to revive that soul every day?
Absolutely.
And so we said that just as you're eating 3 to 5 times a day, what about your connection with your Lord? And this is, in Islam, we have this connection. Before the sun rises, we make a connection. And when the sun is straight overhead, after it passes the straight overhead, actually, then we make another connection. In the mid-afternoon, we make another connection. After the sun sets, we make a connection. And then in the night before we go to bed, we make another connection. Is that right?
That's correct.
And how do we say connection? If we're talking about a connection, you want to connect with somebody, you communicate with them in a phone, or it's called sila. Is that right?
That's right.
So 5 times a day is prescribed for us to make sila, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As-salawat al-khams. Is that right?
Yep. That's right.
The 5 daily prayers. We call it prayers in English, but it's actually a connection to make our prayers in. Is that right?
That's right.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah for everything.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, and I think they call them prayers because I don't think there's a better word for salah in English.
Well, we make a connection to make our prayers.
Right, that's right. So the closest explanation is what you just said, which is perfect.
Yeah, but I understand that whenever people, they want to say it's prayers because this is what we do in the connection.
That's right.
We are praying. Definitely we're praying. I'm not saying we don't pray, but I'm saying we do pray in the connection. The word salah is connection with Allah. And then in it we make dua. Dua is to call upon God.
Right.
I'm happy you called me. We only got about 19 more minutes and I've got some more stuff here. Do you want me to share some of it with you?
Sure, go ahead.
When a person's soul is leaving the body, there is a prayer that a person should say before the soul leaves the body. And then when it comes back again, there's another prayer that he can say. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Before the person passes, you saying?
No, every day our soul leaves the body.
Well, I know that when a person sneezes, they say, the soul leaves the body. That's why they say bless you. And we use the same phrase in Arabic. Say rahmakallah.
Yeah, rahmakallah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Well, that's a point. That is a point for just a split second. They say the soul could leave the body right at that point. And so the person said, Alhamdulillah. And then, Yarhamukumullah, as the angels say back, and then Yaddikumullah wa yuslibakum. But that's not what I'm talking about. Every day, and I said every day. So we don't sneeze every day, do we?
Not quite. Some people do.
But all the people are doing this every day. Their soul is leaving and their soul is coming back. What am I talking about?
Is that when they sleep?
Ah!
Yeah.
So when we fall asleep at night,
Yeah.
We don't know if we'll wake up in the morning, do we?
No.
So we need to be thankful. Now,
We woke up, right.
yes. And so there is something that we used to say, my grandmother taught us this. Now imagine she was born in the 1800s. So I'm going back like into the 1800s to give you a little thing that they used to teach the children, and her grandmother taught her to say this. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. And then we say, God bless mother, God bless father, and God bless all the people in the family. Did you know that?
No, but we have a phrase that I've learned growing up. That I hear, especially my mother used to say that sleep is the sibling of death.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the closest. Sleep is the closest thing to death.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true. True. So now we can move forward to the next part of what I want to talk about. Body and soul is the name of the program we're doing right now. So what about when the soul comes into the body? We have on authority from the prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, he tells us that when God created Adam, he created Adam from the mud of the earth, from the earth, and then combined with liquid, and it made this mud or sounding clay, and then it set, and while it was setting, he told the angels to bow down because of this creation.
Mm-hmm.
And all the angels bowed down, illa iblis, except for the devil. But he wasn't an angel, but he was praying alongside of angels, but he had the choice. Angels have no choice. They have reasoning. We said that. But they have no desires. So they don't desire not to obey Allah or to obey Allah. They're just going to do it. Automatically, they're going to obey. But he didn't do that because he has free choice. And he refused. And that is the biggest sin of all. When you know that Allah has commanded you to do something and you refuse and you say, no way I'm going to obey Allah. Unless you repent of that, you will never get to paradise. Is that true or false?
That's correct.
And that's what we ask Allah every day to keep us away from that.
Ameen. Ameen.
So, all right. Now, when Allah created Adam, Allah blew life into him. And when we say blow life, the spirit went into Adam and it came from Allah. And we say that he blew his soul into him. Now that has been interpreted by biblical scholars and Muslim scholars as meaning that it is owned by God, but it's not God's spirit in a man. In other words, it's owned by God, yes, but it's not a part of God inside of a man.
Right.
But others have said, and they're pretty adamant about that, said, no, I have God in me because I have this soul that God created or God pulled from himself, etc., etc. So I don't want to get into all of that, but there is these two opinions. And of course, there's the atheist who doesn't believe any of it, and he just turns it off and goes to another channel. So at the time of blowing the soul into Adam, Allah blew it into his nose, blew the soul into his nose. And that's interesting because the nose goes right by the brain and then can go either way, can go into the heart and into the brain instantly. And I'm just making an observation. That's my observation, okay? But then, as soon as he did, Adam sneezed. Is that right?
Yep, that's true.
And what did Adam say?
Alhamdulillah.
Exactly. All the praises to God. The first words out of the first man was, all the praise and thanksgiving and worship is only due unto Almighty God. Is that right?
That's right.
And then the angels, the Malaika, who were around there, they said back to him, what? Yarhamakumullah.
Yeah.
Yarhamakumullah.
Right.
And what does that mean?
May Allah bless you.
Allah bless you.
Have mercy on you.
Yeah. Bless you with mercy.
Yeah.
Yarhamakumullah. Yeah, because the word raham is more related to graciousness and mercy than it is to blessings, but we're blessed with that rahmah of Allah. Then the response that Adam gave back to those angels, Yahdikum Allah wa yuslih balakum. And may Allah yuslih balakum and give you back the same and make everything easy for you.
Yeah.
Better your affairs. That's a nice way to say that. So, subhanallah. Now, this is going, the soul, when it goes in, and then what about when the soul goes out? And then we already talked about that. Every night we should have, mention something before you go to sleep. If you know the Arabic, okay. If you don't, that's all right. But mention something that, and I like to recite the last two surahs of the Quran, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq wa qul, and the other one, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. And the first one, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. And the second one, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. The translation plus or minus could be from the first one we said, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. It says that, say, I seek refuge with the creator of the dawn, the daybreak, from the evil that comes out of it, out of the day. And so we're seeking refuge with God from any evil throughout the day. And also from the evil of malignant witchcraft and the evil of the like people blowing on knots, which is when people do like magic and mojo, that kind of stuff. So I'm seeking refuge with Allah from that. And in that we find this is a good way for us consciously to kind of let things go from our mind so that we can go to sleep at night and be safe from those kind of things. But then in the next one, we're saying I seek, now watch this one. I seek refuge from the Lord. Lord, and the Malik in Nas, and that's the King and the God, the Lord of mankind, the King of mankind, and the God of mankind. Now watch this. From the evil of this, the evil that goes into the hearts and minds of the people, which is coming from wiswas, from the whispers of the evil ones, from the jinn and mankind. So there are devils who will whisper stuff into your ear. You know how you hear something in the day, say, why don't you just do this? It's okay, nobody's looking. Whoa! What was that? And also there are human beings telling you the same thing. So it's not just the devil telling you. There are humans saying, it's all right, go ahead and do it. You can cheat on your income tax. Hey, you've heard that. You're in the accounting business. I think you probably heard people say that a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remind them that, hey, cheating is cheating?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, sir. And if you're a cheater, you're not a good Muslim.
It's true, too.
So we got to be honest, even with our income tax.
Of course. Everything.
Everything. Okay, so now we got that. But now I want to come to something else that I've got here. At the time that the soul leaves the body and never comes back. So we call that death.